Coventry becoming the first Championship side to reach the semi-finals of the FA Cup since 2015. Leicester then hoping to join them. So let's bring you the Leicester angle of this cup tie. Pleased to say, joining us, it's Leicester City fan and podcaster Chris Forrian. Chris, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Good morning. Hello, both. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. Chris, I want to ask you first, because the season that Leicester have had, and I've just looked at recent weeks, and Jamie Vardy at 37, still your top goal scorer in the Championship. And he was out the team for periods during the early part of the year. He's still going. He's still doing it.
He is. You'll probably be pleased to know that he's actually out injured today.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, to be honest with you, he would have been in my team. I think this is the sort of the occasion that he would have absolutely loved and turned up for. But look, yeah, I have written him off so many times this season, and he keeps coming back, coming back. He's like the Duracell bunny. He really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame that he is going to miss this one, like you say. I think he scored 8 in his last 8 as well. He's been that effective recently for Leicester. One thing I wanted to ask you before we really focus on the positivity of Leicester is I've seen Enzo Maresca, your manager, obviously more recently sort of in his press conferences, not particularly being happy with some of the reaction from the fans. What are the issues that some fans have with Maresca and that style of play, perhaps?
You know what football fans are like. We're never happy unless we've got something to moan about. Yeah, I mean, I get it on my channel. People saying, "Oh, it's boring football." And certain fans hark back to the Premier League winning season when it was like all counter attack and get the ball up quickly. And this is the way that teams play now. We do play out from the back. We've got defenders that are breaking all records for sort of the amount of passes they're making, but this is between themselves. No, it's not always going to. But how can you complain when we're top? We're top of the league.
Yeah.
All right, it's a bit tighter than it was now, but everyone say, "Oh, it's boring football." Well, if this is boring football, give it to me every week.
Yeah. Well, look, there are some good things. Tell us how you think why Leicester could go to the Bridge and cause an upset. I mean, people like Dewsbury Hall, who you've kept a lot of interest around him, and others that I'm sure you'll mention.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the ideal draw for us. We always seem to get Chelsea or Manchester City. But no disrespect to Chelsea. I heard you talking before I came on. I think they are beatable. They're not having the best of seasons, and we can cause an upset. We went to Bournemouth and stood toe to toe with them. We played Liverpool in the Carabao Cup earlier in the season, and we lost 3-1, but it was a wonder goal and then off the post. It was their last 2 goals. So we've gone to Premier League clubs. Not saying, you've got your favourites to win, obviously Chelsea. But, you've got Harry Winks. I mean, he has got to have been the purchase, not just for Leicester, but I think for the whole Championship of the season. What a player. And the 2 wingers we've got, if they're in the mood for it, they are absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people at the top of Chelsea will be looking at this game, watching it, and going, right, we'll buy him, and we'll sign him up. Not saying that Chelsea like to buy a Leicester player, but they do. I mean, and then Vestergaard is a player reborn at the back. We signed him. He took a lot of stick off Leicester fans. Don't know why Brendan bought him, because he wasn't the sort of player that fitted into Brendan's style, but he fits perfectly into Enzo's. Yeah. Yes, he's not the fastest player going. I could probably beat him, given a start. But my God, he can pick a pass out. He can, he's got that ball and suddenly thinking, what's he going to do with it? And suddenly he'll ping it up and he'll find the winger. He's a player reborn.
Well, it's an intriguing one because, as we say, I mean, Chelsea's season has not really lived up to the expectations put upon them, although they are going through a better spell right now. And at the Bridge, they've won 8 of their last 11. So maybe that is a big factor in how this season might pan out for them if they can get more victories at home, certainly. But it sounds as though there's a bit of confidence from you that you might be able to upset Chelsea like Coventry did at Wolves yesterday.
Look, it's the FA Cup. Anything's possible. You know, at the end of the day, one of these two teams has got to go through.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Chris. Thank you.
Cheers, Chris.
Great.
No, thanks very much for having me on.
The talkSPORT Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The talkSPORT Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the talkSPORT Fan Network.